Good morning in there, out there, in there, and in here, out here. Hope we have enough biscuits. We started off, but we weren't working, so we're starting again. So here's to you guys. I have a hunch Vivian is not going to stay with us the whole time. I don't think so. She's loaded with biscuits. Aren't you, sweetheart? Can you say good morning to everybody, you old sleepyhead? You're my best bud, my old sleepyhead. Yeah, we love you. Yes, we do. You've given us so much. Yesterday, we went visiting Bella, Vivi's friend next door, and Chris, who lives there, invited me in, and we had a little time together, which was nice because his wife went back home to South Dakota.
Visiting.
And
Visiting.
visiting, yes, didn't leave Chris. Yes, thank you, Julie. And so Chris and I sat around and said nothing to each other except we talked. And then it was time to leave, and we couldn't find Vivian. And she couldn't have gotten outside because we were inside. So we looked around the house, and there she was downstairs, sound asleep in one of the rooms down there. She made herself at home, didn't you? You're so good about that. Yeah, you show people how much you feel comfortable with them, and yeah, it was very nice. Bella is her friend who lives next to the dog, and they don't really play or anything. They just hang out, kind of like we do, right? Yeah, yeah, kind of like we do. 61 years ago on Sunday, my mother, my sister, and I in Pittsburgh saw the Beatles. And all there were, they just walked out. The stage was empty. There was nothing fancy. And they played. We couldn't hear a thing. But there are kids here in Saugatuck who have more equipment than the Beatles had, much more. And they're in the garage playing with it, having a good time. And that's all the Beatles had. A couple speakers and Ringo rickety up on the top configured whatever it was they were trying to drum on.
A circle of plywood.
Pardon?
The whole stage was a circle of plywood.
Yeah, it was all plywood. Right.
Wobbling through the whole performance.
That was the Taylor Swift special effects was plywood. It was wonderful. We couldn't hear anything. Everybody screaming, and the girl next to us jumped up and down and broke her chair. Her chair went right down into the ground. And she's on the floor, and my mother, leans over and says, "Don't ever forget." Oh, well, that's wonderful. Isn't that wonderful? Don't ever forget. Yeah. Well, let's raise a glass because, I'm not big on celebrity and all that, but once in a while there's somebody who has an effect on your life. And I lost it the other day when they announced that Robert Redford had died. I love that man. And he did it for right reasons, and he did so much good. And my former student, who's one of the country's finest chefs, Marianne Sundquist, lived next to their house, near their house in Santa Fe. They all spent most of the time in Utah. And she wrote to me, she was sad too, and she wrote to me and said that, yeah, they were the sweetest, kindest couple you can imagine. She did a birthday party for them, and I'm out of biscuits, Viv. You're going to have to leave. I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, she did a birthday party for them, and he came out and he took the microphone, and he had all these different groups from different cultures. He believed in that. And he took the mic and he said, I don't want you talking up here about me and all this stuff. I want to say something about each one of you. And he did. He went around and each person he thanked for what they had done for him. Robert Redford. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I used to teach playwriting. And here's an interesting thing. There's three types. This is the teaching period of our time. There's three kinds of conflict. There's personal conflict, you and her or him. And there's group conflict or a big conflict. Like I have a conflict with the murderer. Thank you, Julie. With the murderer, Donald Rump. And that's a big conflict. Major issue, group, organization. And the third conflict is inner. It's an inner conflict. And I used to teach the students there's a time that this was way back, okay, obviously. They had seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And you go way back. And where am I? I'm kidding. Anyway, there's conflict there. Butch and Sundance are up on this cliff, and there's a river down below. And the three conflicts seldom happen at one time, and it does at this moment. And I would teach that. And the conflicts are here comes the big group, the posse out to get them. So there's the big. Then there's the interpersonal. There's Butch and Sundance, and Butch keeps going, we've got to jump, we've got to jump. And Sundance has the inner conflict, which is he can't swim. And he's going, and finally he yells out to Butch, I can't swim. It's one of my favorite bits, and that's marvelous. I have to take a sip. To Robert Redford, a wonderful man. He cared, and he cared about the right things. Yes, he did. My group last night at the landscapes group, which is 12 people, and they're really a family. They are a family. They care about one another, and they care about one another's writing, and it's beautiful. And the poems last night were appropriate to our time, but never self-indulgent, never sappy. They were always caring about something bigger and someone else. And one used the word almost. It's almost enough. And then it's almost enough. Almost enough. Oh, heartbreaking. Would you stay? Would you stay? Poo, 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 poo. Yeah, you stay. Let's see, what else do we have? We have the Beatles. I have to tell you about the kid who fell asleep in Meredith's art class. Little kid, maybe first grade, and she's going to leave. She's had it. It's time for a nap. And he fell asleep and slid off his chair onto the floor and stayed asleep. And he stayed asleep. The next class came in, they just stepped over him. And he stayed asleep. That's life. That's life in the elementary school, that's for sure. Holy cow. Let's see what's on my list here, huh? Keep your flowers growing. Don't you feel for the trees and the flowers and the bushes? They're so thirsty. This is something. This drought. This is a drought. Our pond, if you can see over my shoulder or whatever, or my slurp sign, is the slurp pillow, is down 4 feet at least. I mean, it's all you can see, the mud, the dirt around it. That never shows. It should be up over that. And we're not sure, of course, what to do, but it's certainly nothing compared to what other people struggle with. We live on a planet, but it's very important. Somebody said last night, it's the first time that she's realized she has to create a world, in a small world, and that her response to things that's very different. Things she just used to look at and take for granted in her house are now she really looks at them. They're very, very important. And finding so-called small things to do that keep you uh, focused on what really, really matters. Now we have to say goodbye to Jimmy Kimmel, I guess, because the thugs are out there. Um, we're chainsawing. My dear friend Jim Allen is chainsawing down a terrible invasive. It's so thick and strong. It's called autumn olive. Do you have that? Holy cow. I don't know what we're going to do with what we cut down. There's just no room to put it. I've got to find a stack or maybe borrow my neighbor's open part of his yard. Um, Gee whiz. Uh, this is this is rough, rough, rough stuff. Um, autumn olive. Let's see. We did the Beatles. How's our time? Am I running out? Do I need to read my poem for the day? 4 minutes? Oh, that's plenty. Um, we didn't take a breath this morning. Maybe we better take a breath. Look who's coming. We're out of biscuits. You might as well leave because that's all. That's the only reason you're here, huh? Biscuits, right, sweetie? Yeah. Give the camera a good look, though. That's important. Give the camera a good look. I keep wanting to recommend to you Niall Williamson, Time of the Child, and also This is Happiness. Oh, but he writes the Irish so beautifully. And you just sit, and there's no plot. You're in this town, and you get to be in the town. And you really are in the town. Hi, Viv. See you, Viv. Yes, yes, yes. Um, Scott Watson, who has a radio show, is coming by this afternoon. Former student. He always brings me a pie. I look forward to Scott coming by and bringing a pie. And he's very entertaining, and I'll enjoy his presence for about an hour. And there you go. And um, there was something else. I think I left it out. Um, well, whatever it is, it's as unimportant as anything else. We care about Joy Friedler and her husband Moti, who are having health challenges, and to our dear friend, to all of you for being so kind to be here. If you know anybody who would benefit from hearing things that they don't necessarily need to hear, let them know. And now it's time to read a poem. And I've been thinking a lot about my dad, and it's been an odd thing. I've been wondering if I made him proud. I don't know. And I really want to, but we lived in two different worlds, and I don't know if at this time in my life when most things are over, but other things happen. I don't know if he'd understand or be proud of his son. Boy, I wanted to, but I couldn't do what I knew would make him proud. I had to do this other thing. Title of the poem's Waiting on the Beatitudes. Waiting on the Beatitudes for my father. You would be, how about that for a start? You would be looking for something to do. He was a doer. She would suggest cleaning the back bedroom. You would head out to the gardens. Sometimes when I look out the window, I don't see you. The hawks hang over the white pines. The heron stands in the pond like a silent question. There's no one there again. There's no name left on the other side of the stone wall. You lie close to the indifference of grass. Today, a west wind lifts the honeysuckle's leaves. I want you to be washing your car, carrying a load of leaf mulch out to your perennials, watching the dark clouds, a house wren tugging twists of straw from the bales you stacked behind the cold frame. Well, as always, thank you for being with me. Take care. Be kind to those who deserve it. Try to be cheerful. So long.